Good morning, everyone. Yes, we are back, live Q&As with myself, Arj. Right, let's see how things are going. I can see there's a couple of you watching online already. Please let me know, can you hear me? Is it nice and clear? Can you see me? Drop a message, say hello in the comments. Give me a thumbs up in there, say yes if you can hear and see me. A couple of things have changed with the streaming platform since we last did this back in July. So fingers crossed we are working for you. I'm going to try tuning in on my phone as well. So can anyone hear and see me? Andy, Rachel, it looks like you're both in here. Good morning. Andy says, morning mate, yes, all clear, fantastic. Right, we're going to give it a couple of minutes just to load in. I have 3 questions that have been submitted for our first return live Q&A. I wonder if I can get them on screen for you. It's very deceiving. I have a laptop over here as normal. I'm running it on my phone at the same time as well, just so I can have a backup. But on the laptop over here, it says the stream is not running. So that's very nice, Facebook. Thank you very much for letting me know that. But in fact, you have reassured me, guys, and it's working. Rachel, how are you this morning? Is Zana with you, Andy? Kate has gone off to do her run. She didn't want to do it. I said, no, you need to do that run. Whilst this is legitimate. I had a slice of her birthday cake and a cup of coffee for my morning breakfast while she was preparing to go on her run. Not always like that, don't worry. Right here, the questions are loading up. We're going to go into our very first question in 1 moment's time. We've actually been starting, hence why I'm not in the office actually, we've been starting to decorate or strip out in preparation to decorate the office, and I am now in our dining room doing this today. I was tempted to do outside, and then when I was having my cake and coffee I thought no, it is far too cold for me to be doing it outside at the moment. Right, there's 4 of you in, fantastic. It's very nice to see 4 people in here. Remember, I can't see you unless you say hi, so do please say hi in the comments. Your first question or task is actually, where are you watching from? So pop in the comments where you're watching this from. Stacey, good morning Stacey, how are you Stacey? Whereabouts are you watching from Stacey? And we're gonna go into the first question. And this should pop up on your screen any moment now. And it's basically, when I'm running, I've been told that I should try and run slower. And therefore, when running slower, this allows me to run for longer. But I really struggle running slower. Now, I'm sure many of us have had this issue before. You have kind of a set pace and that is what you do. Now, easy running is what this person is referring to, and easy running is all about pretty much not taxing yourself aerobically, so your lungs, and in fact, not taxing your legs too much because they're not having to exert lots of forces or anything like that, but instead just being able to put one foot in front of the other. Now, definitely when we start running, we are not economic, we're not very efficient with our running technique, our gait, and therefore it does become very difficult to understand different levels of running. As we get more proficient with running, then absolutely this will become easier and you will start to understand of when you're pushing and when you're not pushing. But as with anything really, when you're developing a skill, doing the skill but not doing it with much effort is actually quite a difficult thing, isn't it? It's quite an advanced thing. So first things first, easy running, which this person is referring to about being able to run slower, is a challenge, but it's something that you should actively engage with. How slow can you move your body, but still keep it above walking pace? For some people, you may find that this must be a walk. So you must go on a brisk walk for your easy runs as such. And then when you're looking further up the intensity curve, so we sometimes refer to this as threshold or running comfortably uncomfortable, then it's at that point at which you get running, you take it up a notch. But easy running is in effect about improving your body's ability to sustain repeated impacts. So it's about building resilience to training. It's about building volume and improving your bone density. As dramatic as that sounds, if you're doing a marathon, there's a lot of impact on your bones, and we need to basically train the body to prepare for that by doing lots of easy mileage where we don't really stress you out. We just get you used to doing lots and lots and lots of running, small impacts basically. One technique that you can do for reducing your pace when you're a beginner and you're not sure really how to get those slower runs is basically increase your cadence, throw your cadence really high. You'll probably find, good morning Claire, happy birthday Isla, if Isla is with you. I just saw the message. Is throw your cadence really high. So get your cadence, if you're running probably at 140 or 150 as a beginner, try and get your cadence up to 170. By throwing your cadence much, much, much higher, and that's the stride frequency, taking more steps per minute, reducing your stride. There are loads of other benefits for it, but when I'm talking solely about pacing, you'll find that forcing to take these smaller steps reduces your effort level basically. And it does give you an opportunity of not putting in so much effort into each step, and therefore it's a bit of an easier run. It won't necessarily be that much slower, but it'll certainly be easier on your body. I hope that has helped. I hope that is an idea for in improving our ability to run slower. It's a very, very strange subject, but most of us should be incorporating one slow, long run into our week if we're aiming to do anything of 10K and above. If it's less than 10K and we've got limited opportunities for running, so say twice a week, then I'd probably be looking at 2 quality sessions. That means repetitions, Ks, maybe a bit more higher intensity stuff, which allows us to tax the body to make the benefits, the adaptations that we want. Right, at this moment in time, I want you to hit like, love, share. Share this, pop this on your page. It'd be amazing if you can. We were average, I looked at all of the lives. We averaged 12 lives or 12 viewers per live, and we maxed out at 21, and we had, for a long period of time of early lockdown, an average of 18, which was very cool. Andy says cake for breakfast and bed. So yes, because it was Kate's birthday, we have loads and loads of birthday cake, courtesy of her mum, and it is delicious. So I wasn't going to say no, basically. We've also pretty much got no food in whatsoever. Watching in bed, fantastic. Ace guys, right, I'm going to pop this next question. Be interested to know, actually, did that question come up on your stream? I'm not entirely convinced it did. Right, next question, which is going to come up, fingers crossed. It's a nutrition one. There's been lots of interest around nutrition questions lately, actually. I wonder if this will pop up. I'm going to do something really, really risky right now. I'm going to hit refresh on this stream. Let's see what happens. Faye, good morning, Faye. It has been a while, Faye, since we've seen you. How are you doing? Are you still running, Faye? So, the question should pop up any minute now. If you are joining us, hit like, love, wow, press share. Really, really do want as many people to be seeing these streams as possible. And this question, today's question, first nutrition question which we had submitted, is whey a better source of protein? So there's been loads and loads of talk about protein. I think it's probably to do with people cottoning on to the fact that we need to be eating healthier and living healthier lives to protect ourselves against coronavirus, etc., etc. What doesn't help is that the people giving that advice generally don't have a clue. So hopefully I can tidy things up. Basically, I think this has been spurred on that a lot of people are talking about increasing protein intake, and then someone said you should go and get a whey protein shake. Imagine they actually said protein shake and you've done your own research and found that it's whey protein in most of those shakes. Andy says, no questions have come up. That's very frustrating. I'll continue reading the questions to you all. Imagine it's like school. Good morning, Chris. So Chris and Faye, wherever you are watching from, pop it in the comments, say hello. It's always nice to welcome you. So this whey protein that someone's told you about, or you've heard, you've read about maybe, and people are saying you need to be taking a protein shake. It's interesting really, because there are two sides to this. Whey protein is a fantastic source of protein. It's not really a supplement these days. We consider it just an additional food source. It's a side effect, it's a benefit really, a byproduct of making cheese. It used to be considered a waste product in the 70s into the early 80s and was used as pig food. And the pigs got absolutely jacked. No, I'm joking. And they basically found that this source of protein was actually pretty efficient and lean, because whey protein has a very high protein content. We usually find it around 80%, sometimes a little bit less, and then very low in fat and carbohydrate, which makes it an excellent option for someone to increase the protein content in their diet without increasing a lot of calories into their diet. Now, when you say is this the better source of protein, it's a whole food source of protein. Dairy and meat sources of protein are far, far superior to other sources of protein, purely because they have what we call a full amino acid profile. So you're getting all your non and essential amino acids. This is getting very complicated suddenly. But basically, whey protein is an excellent option if you're looking to increase the amount of protein in your diet. If you want a simple option of doing it, so you don't want to make a big meal, you just need a little bit of protein, you can have a protein shake. If you're on a diet and you're looking to increase the amount of protein but you don't want lots of calories. And also an interesting study, I spoke about this within our Performance Physique Training Hub a few weeks ago, maybe on live as well, that basically there was a study conducted which looked at eggs, tuna, one other food source of protein, and then whey protein, and compared the effects of them. And this study actually really interestingly found that whey protein was better at making people feel fuller for longer, reducing the amount of calories that they had in their remaining day, and effectively looking after muscle mass. So even though you're dieting, you don't lose as much muscle mass, which is a concern at some points of the diet. It's not for all people, but it does have an impact. So basically, whey protein is an excellent source of protein. I do recommend having some whey protein in your diet if you can bear it. Some of them taste fantastic, some of them taste awful. I recommend sticking with the more normal flavors like chocolate, etc., as opposed to the cinnamon swirl bun, which was a very painful experience that I went through for 2 weeks of my life. But whey protein, fantastic option to have. You can have it with milk, that obviously increases your calories, but it does make it taste better. Or if you can have it with water, just shot it. Just nail it, get it done. Be Fit Aberdeen, good morning. Faye, good morning. I'm still running, still slow. Faye, you made massive progress. Don't put yourself down like that. You never know, we might do another running program again soon. Claire, no chance of a lion as someone's excited in the house. Thanks for a birthday mention. No problem at all, Isla. Isla, you enjoy some cake today. Right. Next question. If you have a question, by the way, look how out of practice I am. I'm just reeling off the pre-submitted questions. We've only got one more question. So if you have a question, pop it in the comments. It can be to do with anything: nutrition, fitness, running, training, so normal gym training, health, I'll try my best at it, or if a lifestyle lifestyle question, that'll be fine as well. And as always, please hit like, love, haha, wow, if you're finding this interesting, if you're finding this useful. We're back to a running question here as well, about increasing mileage. I am relentlessly pressing throw question up onto screen. It's like a button. I don't think it's doing anything for you guys, but you never know. Oh, it's popped up for me now. I wonder if that does work. Good morning, Helen. Helen, how are you? Where are you watching from, Helen? Share this on your feed, press like, love, haha, wow. If you have a question, write it in the comments right now. This is the thing to do. Yeah, it's working for me. So, how to increase running mileage. I find this amazing, to be quite honest, that some people really try to overcomplicate this. I felt bad for this person, feeling that they had to submit this question. It was on Instagram, and they've obviously been told like really complicated methods about increasing mileage. Basically, there's two kind of pathways you can go down about increasing mileage. One is never increase your weekly mileage by more than 2.5%. And the other one is increase your mileage by 1 mile every 2 to 3 weeks. That's it. I tend to use a mixture of the both. And it basically depends on whether you are running lots at the moment or if you're fairly new to running. I look at an overall picture, so 4 to 6 weeks of what that person's been doing, and then say, right, we can add a couple of kilometers here, we can add a kilometer here. And it doesn't need to be anywhere in particular. If you're doing a mixture of difficult training runs, quality runs, so like we're doing a warm-up and then 5 200 meters, 200 meter jogs, and then a 1K, you know, those are really challenging runs. I probably would avoid doing anything in there other than maybe adding 1 repetition. So that's like an extra 400 meters, for example, in my example just there. But if you're doing quality runs like that and easy runs, just stick it on your easy run. So your easy run is going from 6 kilometers maybe in the first few weeks to 6.5, then 7, then 7.5. I know someone watching might actually recognize that pattern as well. But in the scenario that we then start increasing mileage on the recovery, then I'm going to be doing both. It's really, really important that you do this carefully, but basically you're increasing a couple of repetitions within your quality runs. So quality runs are where I set someone their warm-up work, then I ask them to do, say, 4 200s hard with 200 recovery, then you run 2 minutes easy, and then we do 2 1K runs hard with 500 meters easy in between, and then we do a cool down. I might add an extra rep to one of those 200s and an extra kilometer there to their easy run. It's just simple stuff like that. Do not overcomplicate things. If anything, try and hit a weekly mileage goal for a couple of weeks before you increase it again. Just reminded myself as well. Actually, press like, love, haha, wow, if that helps. If that has kind of made things clearer for anyone in here which wouldn't have known. I don't think that person is watching, but you never know if they'll be watching on the replay. But I did read an interesting thing the other day, or a headline. I've saved the thing to read, and it's like, why counting or tracking your running mileage isn't doing anything for your running. Sounds like clickbait, really, to be quite honest. Because it's a really useful load management tool. So that's basically understanding where you are at risk of injury. Cool, a couple of questions coming in, and there was one thing I wanted to talk about as well. Reached a weight, this is Claire, reached a weight I'm happy with now. Yes, good rate. Good achievement, Claire. Don't know where rage came from. But now I need to tone up the jelly bits. Claire, you always manage to make me laugh. Increased steps isn't doing it. Any suggestions? So, we need to basically keep those steps high, and we need to start doing some kind of resistance. So grab AIDS bands and start doing a few exercises with them. It doesn't have to be anything that incorporates your back. We can do seated squats as well, so squatting from the chair back up and down, just increasing a few of those repetitions, form a habit. Do 5 of them every morning and 5 of them every night, say. And that's a really good starting point. Resistance bands is a great option in your circumstance as well, Claire. So things like tricep extensions, put the band around one hand and extend that arm above. That's a great option. I hate doing it because it's hard. I have terrible triceps though, that might be why. It would be really good for you to do some postural stuff with that as well. So take the band out in front, 2 hands. I'm holding a coffee cup with the other hand, hence why I can't, but holding it with this hand and opening out wide, pushing your chest through. It's really good for your posture. But yeah, we need to start doing those kind of things. So even if it's like a split squat, get Aidan to give you an example of that, but a split squat, and you just work a very short range of motion. The reason I say like a split squat or a lunge is because by separating your legs, like one forwards and one backwards, you're able to keep your spine quite neutral and work your legs quite a lot. So it reduces injury chance or kind of irritation, really. I hope that helps, Claire. Do ask more questions. BFit Aberdeen. BFit Aberdeen, by the way, what's your name? I'd love to be able to address you. Have you ever done Tough Mudder or any challenge like that? How did you prepare, please? Thanks. Very funny, actually, because I said for years I'll never do one of those challenges, and then found myself doing a handful of them. Basically, stuff like that, you need to do circuit training. 100%. Circuit training is absolutely... Mikey, cool. Hi, Mikey. How are you doing? You want to be doing circuit training without a doubt. It's all body weight conditioning. Do it with short rest intervals, and when I say short rest intervals, it might be 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off. It might be 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Just choose split intervals like that. Try and do rounds of 6 to 10 minutes at a go. By going any higher than 10 minutes, then to be honest, I don't think you will be working those active parts of the session at a high enough intensity to get as many benefits as if you just do 10 minutes, take 2.5 minutes off. Anything else? If you can do like pull-ups and stuff like that, even negative pull-ups, so find a bar and just hang from it and then gradually just decreasing. Depends on how much time you've got, but I would 100% recommend holding on to heavy objects or holding your body from a bar and just practicing holding, because grip strength is one of the most important things for those events. And I don't think anyone talks about it in training stuff. Even like holding a towel really hard is useful. I know it sounds ridiculous. And then I would look at interval training. So like 20 minutes of interval training for your running fitness, because the interval training is a very quick way of improving your VO2 max, your cardiovascular fitness, but build warm-up and cool-down periods around it. And basically what you're doing there is you're focusing your middle block on improving your fitness, and the end 2 sides, so you've got your warm-up here and your cool-down here. So it might be only 1 kilometer to start and finish, and you'll gradually increase those, but they basically add as the volume part, because like Tough Mudder is a really, really long event. So you need to have some kind of volume in your work. And to be honest, you need to be doing these things at least 3 times a week to get any kind of adaptation. If you can throw it to 5 times a week, it gives yourself a lot better opportunity. Does that help? Any other questions? Claire, thought it was going to involve exercise. There's no magic wand then. No, I haven't got the magic wand yet, Claire. I am working on it. It's a prototype at the moment. Just going to tease it for a while before I introduce it to the market. Andy, I've done a few Tough Mudders too. Only bits I found hard were the monkey bars and the rings. Yeah, grip strength is definitely. Yeah, thank you, Andy. Absolutely, I completely agree. It's weird, isn't it? Maybe you've seen it, Andy, but I don't think I've seen any of these things. these kind of how to train for Tough Mudder and stuff, wherever anyone's mentioned grip strength, 100% the thing that was, it's like when I went and did it with the groups, I was by no means the best, not at all. But there was two things that gave me a little bit of standing. It's basically I used to do a lot of deadlifting and weight training, very heavy loads. So my grip strength was really good for the monkey bars. And I obviously used to sprint. So when they had like the uphill stuff and we did one with the Travelator. That was Gladiators, wasn't it? The Travelator. I was going to say the Escalator, but that's just BTs and Marks and Spencers. But we did one with the Travelator, and it was 100% speed work, which was really useful. So Mikey, maybe in your interval you can put in some speed work, so like 10-meter sprints in there as well. Cool, perfect, great information, thank you. Any other questions, guys? Do pop them in. It's a lovely sunny morning. I have got time this morning as well. Hit like, love, haha, wow if this has been useful. Please do share this on your feed. Hit the share button, write a little comment about why you think it'd be useful to watch, or tag someone. I think you've probably tagged someone in here as well. I'm going to tell you about something interesting I read this morning, and this was hilarious. It was hilarious to me. This is while I was eating my breakfast cake, and breakfast cake isn't a meaning for anything else other than it was a cake I had for breakfast, and had my coffee. Ironically, I was reading a journal article about calories, and a study has come out from a group in the Netherlands saying that their diet that they have trademarked, that's right, before the studies come out, they've trademarked or registered their diet. It's diet spelled D-I-E-E-T. Maybe that's just a Dutch spelling. I might be wrong there. Basically, their registered diet, an extremely low carbohydrate diet, a ketogenic diet, loses more weight and is better for those with diabetes than a low carbohydrate diet and a calorie restricted diet. Kate thought it was very strange that I basically was having a nice Sunday morning, sat there eating cake, drinking coffee and reading a journal article, and then when I said the journal article was about calories, she couldn't help but laugh at me. But basically in this paper they talk about how their diet, and they go into a lot of depth about what their diet is, was 30% better than anything else, blah blah blah, and that people lost 5.8% more of their fat than they did on any other of the diets. The next best was low carb, and then the worst one was the energy restricted, so the calorie deficit, the calorie, go on a calorie diet basically. So I thought I'll read the entire thing, and I went through in detail. And interestingly, they did this study with all their own patients, so the two dietitians. They chose those who were most effective for the study. It could be just outliers, which would be normal, so outliers, someone who has an extreme measurements either side. But it did make me wonder, because they only worked with 15 participants out of each group, but they did the study for something like 2 years in their professional practice. And then on top of that, they spoke in detail about what the diet people were doing. And they spoke about the low carb diet people and what they were doing. But for the calorie deficit people, they didn't actually say what they did, other than saying that they could basically eat up to 35% of their diet from fatty foods, but after that couldn't have any more. And that they were on a calorie controlled diet. And they say 600 calorie reduced, but they don't actually say any single thing more about it. So I couldn't work out whether they're on a 600 calorie per day diet, or if they're on 600 calories fewer than what they were consuming. It gets even murkier, because they actually say 600 fewer than normal, So was that, I'm Tim, I have 3,000 calories a day normally, and I'm now going to eat 2,400. Whereas, was Tim actually tiny and Tim was meant to be only having 2,000 calories? So he's in a massive calorie surplus already. They didn't say whether actually the calories that all groups were on were matched. So basically you can only correct this, effectively do this study if everyone across all the different groups have the same amount of calories, and then the only thing that you're changing is one group are low carb and one group are high carb, say. And then the last thing is the two best performing groups had increased levels of protein, whereas the low performing group, the energy calorie deficit group, had lower protein. Well, we know that increasing protein helps with reducing body fat. We know that it makes people feel more satiated, so fuller for longer. So particularly when you're saying one group has to have over 100 grams of carbohydrate per day, which is what the energy calorie group, so again, another variable which wasn't very well controlled. So they're having more tastier foods, basically things that are very palatable, you want to eat lots of, and yet you're not feeding them as much protein to keep them fuller. That's obviously going to have an impact. And then the last thing here is that they ran the study for what looks like a couple of years. So a very long period of time. They didn't mention any kind of calorie tracking. They didn't mention anything to do with adherence. So how do you know those people actually stuck to the process? Because I know if you told me, like they did in the high fat groups, that basically you can eat as much as you like, just don't worry about calories and just keep your carbohydrates low. Or if I was told you can only eat 600 calories, but you have to do this for 2 years and we're not going to check in with you. I know exactly which one would find it easier, the one where they didn't have to actually stick to anything necessarily. So you might see this study, because I saw this publicized in the press this last night. It was our Saturday night. If you see this study coming out saying that low carb has now been proven to be better than high carb or a calorie deficit, no, that doesn't exist. And this study certainly hasn't demonstrated that. Just something to be aware of. Right guys, I'm going to disappear. If you have any questions, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write them now. I do appreciate you joining me this morning. Please hit the like, love, haha, wow. I know I've said it a couple of times, but it was really important to me. We probably will do another of these in a couple of weeks' time. It's been very fun being back on here. It's a nice wall, isn't it, the dining room wall? We're trying to decide, once we've dismantled upstairs, what colours we're actually going to paint the office. Because obviously at the moment I have the stripes in the office. But that was just actually a testing palette, paint palette. So we'll be doing that this afternoon. I really want to go out as well and get a burger. But we're only going to be allowed to do that if we finish early doors. So I've got to work really hard this morning. Right, guys, 1 more minute. If you have any questions, do ask away. Oh, actually, the running strength program that I've been developing, app-based one, 8 weeks worth of training, specific strength training exercises, how to perform and everything. The app is almost there. I think I've got 2 weeks left to prescribe. Prescribe's the wrong word. Build, and then it's complete. And basically, you'll have these videos directed to your phone, even to your Apple Watch if you have one now. I've been told that the sessions can go to your Apple Watch. Xana, if you're watching, apparently they can do that. Yeah, and the sessions will just appear on your phone, following a calendar, do those strength exercises. The research supporting that was pretty impressive, improving 5K times by up to 42 seconds. I think the smallest improvement on the 5K time trial was something like 24 seconds. I remember thinking that was funny, that it's a mirror of the 42. Anyway, so yeah, by implementing, it was 2 to 3 resistance training sessions per week, improved 5K time trial. Because people are often concerned that doing some strength training in addition to running will actually just be detrimental to their performance. So the app strength program is going to come up. I'm going to probably do an early bird launch. Don't exactly know how this works, but an early bird launch, which basically you get access to this program and a group to be part of. No one-to-one work with me, no check-ins, nothing like that. But you have the access to a peer group as well for £80, something like that. I need to work out the technicalities behind it. Right guys, no more questions have come in, so I really do appreciate you joining me. I'll probably be back in 2 weeks' time. Maybe I'll get bored and do one next week. Other than that, have a fantastic Sunday. It's sunny, it's really sunny, so go and enjoy it. Go and have some cake. And Isla, happy birthday, enjoy your day. Thanks everyone for joining us, bye-bye. Hit like, love, haha, wow, please.